Emeritus Professor of Counseling at the University of North Texas is Janice Miner Holden. My 31 years as a counseling faculty member trained both professional and school counselors with licenses. Research makes up about 1/3 of a professor's employment, and I researched near-death experiences. I spent 30 years studying near-death experiences in psychotherapy, but not only that. I looked at all the usual aspects of near-death experiences with an emphasis on therapy. The first work on near-death experiences was Raymond Moody's 1975 book, Life After Life. In this book, he coined the term near-death experience after speaking with around 100 people who had experienced similar events and finding similarities in their accounts and outcomes. This book inspired others to start controlled scientific investigation. At first, the field focused on the experience and its consequences, which aligned with my areas of interest in study. My interests then grew. I looked at the effects and responses that come from sharing a near-death experience with someone. We are aware that the initial realization influences a person's processing of the event. The person may successfully integrate it if the first confidant labels it as a near-death experience, does not pathologize the person or the event, does not demonize it, and admits its possible authenticity. If the confidant responds negatively, the individual may feel psychospiritual stagnation until they locate a supportive environment where they can explore the significance and meaning of the experience. I was particularly interested in the aspects of near-death experiences where the person encounters deceased loved ones and after-death contact, which also takes place outside of them. My study focuses on after-death bereavement and grief counseling, as well as the effects, disclosure, and implications for awareness of near-death experiences. I categorize near-death experiences into 3 tiers. There are certain deeply ingrained traits that societies share. Near-death experiences often involve meeting departed loved ones and are prevalent in all cultures. Most people perceive the physical world as existing outside of their bodies. One recurring theme is fast mobility in either material or transmaterial space. Light emerges in civilizations and near-death experiences. Although these components are not present in every near-death experience, 100 or 1,000 of them demonstrate their frequency. That's profound, almost worldwide. Of the 3, the cultural level is the second. NDEs take place in a reality distinct from our own. Perceptions differ from earthly language sometimes. People interpret what they see via their cultural lens because it's the only way they can make sense of what they're seeing. That universal topic can even be shaped by culture. There are no 2 near-death experiences that are the same on the 3rd level, the individual level. Everybody has distinctive character qualities. Now let's talk about rapid space travel. Individuals in the West frequently remember their near-death experience as occurring while traveling swiftly through a tunnel or other open area. Tunnels are a common means of rapid transit through non-material space. New Zealanders who have had near-death experiences can travel rapidly across the island to the soul jumping-off location. While the idea of rapid movement is the same, Westerners and Maori interpret it in different ways. Even Westerners who breeze through an enclosure resembling a tunnel describe tunnels differently. Some refer to it as a brighter light tunnel, while others term it a black tunnel with a light at the end. Some claim to see spirits in the tunnel, while others claim it is colorful. A tunnel is a cultural expression of rapid speed, a term that is particularly prevalent in the West. Personal tunnels come in different forms and colors. Experience is not determined by culture or religion, in my opinion. Although influence is evident, the experience doesn't seem to be controlled by it. There are instances when religious experiences defy religious training. They can have a lot of expectations. Experiences near death cannot always match expectations. A common consequence is that individuals stop attending organized religion since it is unable to account for their near-death experience. Death, awareness, and the world as they know it are not explained by their religion. For a small research project, I gathered all of the near-death accounts from the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. Thousands of submissions have been made worldwide. I focused on the references to Jesus' physical characteristics. I compared the hair, eyes, clothes, and voice in 17 instances. Some described his voice as a thundering freight train, while others called it pure melody. People have said that he has blue, brown, or light-emitting eyes. No two accounts of Jesus were the same. There were hints in two cases. It's possible that these two people were unaware of one another's near-death experiences, simply recorded online what they came across. "You're about to meet Jesus," a spirit voiced over the speakers both times. "Okay," the experiencer replied, and the spiritual entity asked, "How should he look?" "He's willing to seem any way you like." This suggests that near-death experiences could be influenced by our perceptions. Some say that the light bearer they saw was God. They thought right away that this bright, all-knowing, all-loving being was God after having experienced it. Other people who have experienced near-death say, "I don't get it. It might have been God, but I'm not sure because that's not how I found God. I'll refer to it as the light or entity of light because of its shape." People's understanding of their experiences may be influenced by their cultural or personal past. When things don't live up to their expectations, they may become cautious and not commit to a force. Who will suffer something close to death? Assume that 80 to 90% of people who survive severe illnesses or injuries claim not to remember anything strange. It's possible that she lost consciousness. They don't remember anything from their unconscious state. Merely 10 to 20% of people report having been near death. When a person's consciousness sees the physical world or ventures into a transmaterial realm with settings and animals, it is known as a near-death experience, NDE. Why do 10 to 20% of people remember anything, yet 80 to 90% forget things? Are these groupings different from one another? Extensive research indicates that there is no discernible difference between people who remember NDEs and those who don't. Some people encounter several near-death experiences, NDEs, and occasionally they experience one but not the other. We're clueless. I firmly believe that heaven only knows why some people experience NDEs. Why some people are able to recall near-death experiences while others cannot. Some remember NDEs, but they wait years to report them. To an NDE they never talked about. That's a modest gathering. Some people's NDE experiences didn't come back to them until years later, when something triggers their recollections. Some people may have experienced a near-death experience, NDE, but not remember it. Most people probably didn't own one. Research on after effects lends credence to this. Compared to non-NDE survivors, NDE survivors report more pronounced after effects. There's no reason to believe someone if they claim not to have had an NDE. Those who did faced unique repercussions. You may be familiar with these effects. Their dread of dying is nearly eliminated after the meeting. They are persuaded that if they stayed dead, dying would be like that since they now know what the initial moments of death are like. The biggest effect is eradication of death phobia. I categorize these into effects on the body, mind, soul, and society. Benefits in terms of psychology include overcoming fear of death, growing in empathy, emotional sensitivity, helpfulness, and caring. NDE life appraisals are usually to blame for this. Being less religious and more spiritual are two examples of spiritual after effects. Most people give up organized religion and become spiritual. Very few become more religious. Clairvoyance, the ability to see distant events, and the ability to see into someone's thoughts are examples of spiritual talents. We refer to these as paranormal abilities. NDEs alter the physical world's metabolism. In addition to becoming more sensitive to poisons, medicines, allergies, and other things, they can need to eat less and develop food aversions. When electromagnetic devices in a person's surroundings malfunction or act abnormally, it might have an electromagnetic influence. Socially, the individual is different from before their near-death experience due to these psychological, spiritual, and physical changes. Their social life may be impacted by this. I am not only interested in genuine perception because nearly all people who have had response to you. That's something I'll never forget. It exists in a subjective sense. Those who have experienced near death often assert that our purpose in life is to love more, both themselves and other people. To receive this message, humanity must accept that near-death experiences convey an indisputable spiritual message. This must be acknowledged as human existence and reality. Since these experiences are fundamentally different from our material existence, some non-experiencers are on board, but many aren't, which makes sense. In order for humanity to comprehend this message, NDEs must be verified. In my near-death studies, this is my primary objective.